Hey guys, I wanted to do a video on my table 500 Maliss deck list. I took this to a regional. I was doing pretty well at the start, but it came downhill, But I hope some of you guys can get some inspiration from this list, so let's go over it. So we have some fairly standard, parts of the engine. Got the 2 Rabbit, 2 Dormouse, 2 Chessy Cat. You can run 3, but I think 2 because there's a space. 2 Hare. 3 is not really worth buying right now. We got 2 Underground, the 1 Gold Sark, and then because this is not as much starters as a lot of other people run, I'm running the 3 Backup because that's a 1.5 card starter. You have the 1 Wizard, the 1 AI Michu, which helps you search the backup as well if you need. You've got the Mirror, which is your necessary brick, your MTP, and then JWC, because siding is annoying, and also there are times when it comes up, especially in OTK. Now let's go into our non-engine. So we've got 3 Fuelos, fairly standard. Got 3 Ash, pretty reasonable. 3 Droll. I know people are cutting this right now, but it still comes up because of Mr. Rugi's not banned yet, Ryzeal's not banned yet completely, so still playable. 3 Imperm, fairly standard. 2 Bell. You could run the 3rd one, but space is tight and Bell is really good. Almost better than Ash in this format. We've got the 1 Nibiru, so that I can draw into it. 3 Droplet. This is one that I was thinking about, and it's pretty good. It helps against like all the turn 0 plays. And then here's my spicy tech, which is the triple Izuna and 1 Lupus. There are lines when it comes up. I'll go over some more some use cases of it, but yeah, it's a spicy tech. It's also a good hand trap. And then let's go into the extra deck. You've got the Link Spider, fairly standard. Almirage, fairly standard. Double Link Haribo, pretty standard. SP, I was thinking about Haggard, but SP comes up in terms of like the Yummy matchup. You've got the Wicked, Search Backup, Splash Mage, fairly standard. 1 of each of the Maliss names, fairly standard. Access code for the OTK, fairly standard. Ally Code Talker. This one, I know people cut. I think it's nice, because it's like a negate and stuff. And a good like boss monster. And then we've got the Valon, Ripper, and Werewolf for the K9 package. Yeah, it cuts into your flex slots, but you still have flex slots in the form of the K9 engine as well, so that's pretty nice. And then we have the side deck. Triple Lancia, because Maliss is still in the format. This deck is Maliss. We've got triple Perulia because it's really good into a lot of decks, and then turn 0 decks, you can still use it against them. Ideally, you'd main it, but also sometimes it can get a bit annoying to have too many, Charmies in the hand. You have Thrust because you'll 2 Thrust, 1 Talents, because Thrust is pretty good in this format. Talents is one of those cards you can get. Duster is another one. Duster is really good. It did come up a few times in the matchup. Sanctum, pretty nice to have, especially if you're running Thrust already. DDG and D-Barrier are also really good, because Thrust. And then the last 2 I have are Lantern and Force Release. And I'll go over a quick example of why these 2 might come up. But it's more of a post-side thing. And yeah, the extended K9 package. This is something that everyone probably knows, but let's say your opponent Nibiru's you, and now they have a Nibiru monster, and you don't have any extenders, but you have Thrust. You can go Thrust to add the AI Michu, and you can extend from there, because you can turn the token into Link Spider, summon the backup, basically combo from there. So that's another neat synergy I like between Thrust. Another interesting thing to think about is under Lancia. Let's say your opponent catches on that you're playing K9 Maliss, and so you go you summon your Maliss monster, you banish it, comes back, and now you can't Xyz anymore because Maliss locks you into Links, and then they Lancia you. That still hurts, but you can do some pretty interesting things because like you can still go Izuna, dump Lupus, Lupus revive, and now you can make a Link 3 off of these. And Lupus doesn't get banished because of Lancia, and that's also something that can come up, something to think about. Another interesting line that did come up for me was when I had Wicked, and my opponent was expecting me to go like March Hare, summon from hand, you know, stuff like that. But instead I just went Lupus, revive from graveyard, to zone Wicked points to, and that lets me add backup. And then eventually if I link off Lupus, he gets banished, but that's fine. Because in this deck, you know, K9 is not your primary engine, it's one of your helper engines in that sense. So that is something that can come up, that is something that you can think about, and then something where you can play a little bit more risky with is, you know, banishing your Lupus, it's fine. Another line that's pretty strong and does kind of come up is on your opponent's turn, you know, turn 0, you'd go Izuna, you dump the Lupus revive, and you rank up into Valon, and then you can Book of Moon something on their turn. And then on your turn again, you can Book of Moon another thing, and you can go Droplet, send the Valon, you know, once it has no materials, send the Valon, and maybe send more stuff if you need to, but that lets you, you know, negate stuff on the field, and then in Valon, because it's sent to the graveyard, it lets you pop a face down. So some of the stuff you say, you Book of Moon, you know, last turn or this turn, or even their back row, and that's something that can come up. People might not think about. Let's say your opponent has these 3 hand traps. Together, they basically murder Maliss, but this list has a way to get around it if you have the right hand. So let's say they go draw phase, you know, Lancia and Full Loss, right? So what you need is an Izuna and then one of the 4 Maliss names. But I'm going to say let's take Hare for this case because usually that's the worst one. So you go Izuna, you special summon Izuna, you go dump the Lupus, and then Lupus will revive, you Xyz into the Ripper. Ripper will detach the Izuna. You search for the Lantern, and then because you search, you can set the Force Release. Lantern will revive the Izuna, so you have 2 bodies. Now you just go normal summon March Hare. You go Link 3 into the Ransom. Ransom will search you Mirror. And then that's it. That's all you have to do. This is quite a big board because you have Ripper, you have a negate on Ripper. You've got the Force Release to rank up into Werewolf. And then you have the hand rip with the Werewolf and the pop from Force Release. And then what you can do is you go Malice in the Mirror, you know, banish the Ransom, you imperm them. Ransom comes back and then it lets you banish another Malice monster. So you banish the White Rabbit. White Rabbit comes back, it lets you set the MTP. You go MTP on their turn, you banish the Rabbit because you have Ransom. You can, you know, non-target banish, and then you can search. So you can search either a Hare or a Dormouse, depending on what you need. Also, when you summon Ransom, you can also search the field spell, and then you have basically full combo there. So that gives you, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions off of 2 cards under Lancia, Full Loss, and Nibiru, because once you get to Ripper, your line is basically immune to Nibiru. So yeah, that's like 4 to 5 interruptions under 3 hand traps that are basically killing Maliss. Yeah, not a bad you know, not a bad line, but the only problem is resolving it doesn't always happen. But it's something that's like worth thinking, and one of the reasons why I was going with K9. Lastly, let's go over the parts of the list that doesn't really work. So you have your Lupus and your Izuna, right? You can't really summon them. Well, you can't summon any Xyz once you've banished any of these 3 and you try to summon them. So that's one thing to think about. The other is Splash Mage. Once you use Splash Mage's effect or Wizard's effect, you cannot summon these 2. And once you use AI Michu, you're locked out of any non-Cybers effects. So that's also something that like blocks you. But these 3 are like your one-ofs. You know, Splash Mage you only go into when you need to. Same with Wizard. You ideally don't want to use this as early as possible. And AI Michu is like a last resort. It still does get you to combo, which is why it's good to have this, especially, and this is your extender. But yeah, it's definitely workable. Like if you go, you know, Malice, and then you have these 2 are still 2 bodies. There's still 2 bodies. Once you use Malice, you can't Xyz, but these are still 2 bodies, which is why it's not bad. It's better than Bystials because you're getting 2 bodies instead of 1 in that sense, and it works under Lancia. It also makes you a negate, which Bystials don't really do. More extensions, more combo. Yeah. It is interesting to note that I decided to cut the Bystials because in the current format, they're good against some decks, but not all decks, and like not as many decks. Whereas this is very good because I can go, you know, turn 0, I can go Izuna, like game 1, and they'll think Almon Vanquishal K9 or Draco Tail K9 or some other K9 deck. And then on my turn, I'll go like you know, I'll go normal summon Dormouse, and then that basically throws them off. And that's like confusion. And then here's another interesting thing about the K9 is just because you're locked into Cybers or locked into Link monsters on your turn, you don't have to use, you know, the K9 package on your turn. You can use it the following turn on your opponent's turn, or you can use it turn 0. Heck, you can go games where you don't even reveal that you have the K9 package, and it throws your opponent off guard. Especially because like Lancia and like hand traps. The thing about like K9 and Maliss and like why they're different in ideology is that Maliss is a deck where you want to hand trap it no matter what, and K9 is a deck where you don't want to hand trap it no matter what. You'd rather board break K9 and you'd rather hand trap Maliss. And a lot of decks are running both, but they can't run both at the same time. So you get this interesting synergy where if your opponent knows you're on one and not the other, they'll side for that one, but you have the other to like cover up for the weaknesses. Because Maliss into board breaker, like board breakers into Maliss, it breaks the board, but Maliss's board is so layered that you can always just reset everything on their turn. And then K9, you know, on the other hand, you have all the hand trap interruption and interaction, because you have, you know, turn 0 plays with Izuna, Lupus Revive, Quick Xyz, you have Ripper to negate more hand traps. So it's like, it's a synergy that's like not something, you know, direct, but it's indirect. It's pretty good, it's pretty strong. I think the list is, you know, it's worthy to win pretty big. I just didn't have good luck, and my hands were really bad at the regionals. I went 2-0 for the first 2 rounds, and then I went like 0-4 for the rest of it, which was pretty bad. Yeah, but I mostly misplayed and bricked, but it's something that's like worth thinking about. Maybe if I fix the ratios a bit, get more practice, I'd probably do a lot better.